high density, big city residents. What's the craziest thing you've seen through someone else's windows? NSFW. I was staying at my father-in-law's condo during a vacation with my wife. There's this annoying middle-aged guy that loves to talk to anyone who comes down to the pool. So we were at the pool talking to him and he pulls out this big toy gun. We're like, what's that for? And he explained that it shot out salt and he used it to kill flies. That's pretty cool, I admit. We let him shoot it at us to feel how much force it had, and it wasn't much at all. But I imagine those little grains of salt shred bug wings. Anyway, he eventually went back inside and so did we. Then we came back out later in the night to BBQ. He was in his home and walking around naked. Okay, no biggie. Just a naked chubby middle-aged guy. Not the worst thing I've seen in my life. What made this shit weird is that he walked up to one of his end tables, played with his junk for a second, then reached down and grabbed the salt gun. And proceeded to shoot himself in the twig and berries with it for like 2 minutes non-stop, then headed back into the parts of the house that weren't visible. Makes sense. You can salt your meat if you want to store it for a long time and not use it. Before our firm relocated our offices, we was in one of the Dallas skyscrapers downtown. During the day, you really can't see through the windows of the other buildings, but at night, we could make out what people were reading on their computers. To a degree, we circulated an office-wide memo warning people to close their blinds at night because we handle some pretty sensitive cases. One night I was working late and go to close my blinds and I look out across the way and I see a dude sitting at his desk, masturbating to bondage porn. I don't judge. To each their own, but yeah. Fair warning to all my skyscraper friends. We can see your computers. The replies in this thread reminded me of a truism I heard once that I think checks out. If you stand naked outside your front door and your neighbors can't see you, that's rural. If you stand naked outside your front door and your neighbors call the cops, that's suburban. If you stand naked outside your front door and your neighbors ignore you, that's urban. I once saw a person in full Spider-Man costume just watching TV in their apartment, mask and all, like all night long. This continued each night for all 3 nights I was in the city. It made me believe that Spider-Man is real, but that he doesn't really have much to do besides watch TV. Definitely the guy that uses his large screen TV to masturbate, every night, with his curtains wide open. His porn interests are pretty bland. Just your standard porn star getting pounded by a dude whose face you never see. I'd have to actively try not to see this. That's how easy it is to see. Well, it's 10 PM, better not look out the window cause then we'll see neighbor man getting his wank on. Get a laser pointer and shoot it at his screen until he closes his curtains. Lived in this one complex growing up, kinda place where we were Section 8 housing, but right across the street were high-end apartments and I think condos. I could see into the kitchen of a bit of a foodie. This was 88, 89, so that term didn't exist yet. I was at the time learning to cook myself, so this was like a live cooking show every night. Then there was what I know was a mock turtle soup recipe, but at the time it was like I was watching someone just do obscene things to a few calf heads. Looked over and they were splitting them to get the brains out, nailing tongues to a board and peeling them. Gore all over the kitchen. I feel like this should get more attention than it has been. Split cow heads are a crazy ass thing to see regardless of context. Sort of the reverse for me. My so can't keep her cloths on, and she doesn't care about the blinds, completely assured no one is looking, till one day our neighbor's blinds fell down. There he was, dick in hand, red as a beet and staring right at us. I used to live across the way from a very attractive girl who'd walk around her apartment naked, blinds completely open, big picture window. It was close enough where I felt like there was no way she didn't know people could see her. I would always duck down and peek through my blinds just to be safe. Do the sensible thing, creeper. In Toronto, I rented the top floor of a house. The house behind us was set back from the street, and the houses on either side were almost in front of it, so you could barely see it from the street. They had planted tall bushes and trees so you couldn't see the hidden house, but we could, from our fire escape balcony. We almost never saw who lived there. I was having a dart up on the fire escape one morning, and I see their back door open up and a guy in his early to mid-40s come out in a bathrobe. He lights a dart as well. We give each other a little open palm wave and nod. A minute later, a black woman comes out in a bathrobe, looking to be naked underneath, and she takes a drag off his cigarette. Then another woman, a white woman, comes out, also in a bathrobe, and admonishes the first two for smoking. The guy puts it out and they all go back inside. A couple of months later I noticed the guy, the two women and 4 kids at the local park. 2 white kids, 2 mixed ethnicity kids, all around the same age. That dude was living large on the down low. When I was in college, our dorms were basically high-rise apartments. One night I was looking out the window, contemplating life, when I saw a man and woman having sex in a building across the street, like perfect view of everything. Their bed was directly in front of the window. I called my roommates over and we kinda just watched for a minute, then we opened our window and started cheering them on. The guy glanced over, grinned and kept going. We were basically watching live porn. When I was a teenager, a friend and I thought it would be hilarious to order pizza to the house across the street and watch the confusion unfold. The confusion was anticlimactic, as you can imagine, but the aftermath was crazy. We could see right into their living room and the husband went fucking crazy and started screaming and throwing shit and then started actually punching holes in the wall and ripping apart said wall once the hole was started. We didn't do the pizza thing again. Oh, so that little fucker was you. I was smoking on a balcony with some friends when we saw something moving in someone's window. It was someone's living room and some kid, maybe 4 years old, had his arms out airplane style. He was spinning around the room so goddamn hard. He kept popping in and out of view and genuinely lasted longer than anyone expected. I don't know how, but he must have been going for a full 5 minutes, bouncing off his couch every so often. By the end we were cheering him on. 6 a.m. Went on my balcony to get some fresh air, saw the MILF of my neighborhood cooking while completely naked. That's it. I wish I was attractive enough to get away with this. At my old apartment when few people were home, I'd hardly wear clothes. And I love having windows open at my current one, but I gotta be careful not to flash anybody lol. Hot naked Asian we called her. Tried not to look, which wasn't too difficult as she was a floor up, but with a raised kitchen and quite tall herself. Then one day I came into my room and my lesbian friend was looking sheepish. I knew exactly what she'd done. She'd been ogling and had gotten caught in the act. HNA shut her blinds from then on. An incredibly hot woman sunbathing topless on a rooftop in the middle of the day. But this roof wasn't taller than its adjacent buildings. Oh no. This was like a 10-story building surrounded on all 4 sides by massive high-rises. All told she was flashing them out to maybe 50 floors worth of office drones, many of whom I'm sure were pressed to the window glass. She probably reduced nationwide GDP for the day by at least a cool million. Was staying over at a friend's place in Edinburgh, was on the pull-out sofa. They didn't have curtains in the front room, just blinds. And a balcony beyond that. The railing was all glass. The blinds didn't come down all the way, so I could look out to the flats across the way from where I was laying. Watched a couple have a roaring argument, and then saw him deck her. Woke up my friend and called the police. I had to get on a train in just a few hours, so they said I should go back to sleep and they'd keep watch on the couple flat until the police came. So, what happened? I was on the train home before I heard anything from my friend. No arrests made as the GF didn't want to press charges. No idea what was going on there, but my friend and I suspect it was a long-term abusive relationship. and that she was too scared to leave. He'd lived there for about 4 years and they'd been there when he moved in. He did let me know that about a year later the GF was gone and the guy was living there alone. He'd keep an eye out for anything bad going down and make a note of it, but never got anything as bad as what I saw. He thinks she got away, broke up with the guy, because all her stuff was missing from the flat. Other than that, I have no idea. Not even through the window, but when I was at Penn State I saw a couple fucking on the balcony at about 3 AM or so. That probably doesn't count though, because college in Denver, across from where I work, is an apartment building. It is well known throughout my office that there is a man 1 floor down that spends roughly 4 hours every day playing Destiny 2, while in his underwear. Recently saw him playing Sekiro naked, and people were more interested in his game change than they were in his lack of whitey tighties. He didn't seem to enjoy it much, because he was back on Destiny within the hour according to my coworker.